In our last video, you should have learned how to create a simple single color design using Hotfix Era using clip art that we found online. Now we're going to create some original artwork, simple vector shapes, and do a 2 or more color design using the same tools. I'm going to go up to my artwork tab and choose closed shapes, and I'm just going to select one of these. It can be any one of these vector shapes, almost a clip art library that come with it. And I'm just going to choose the star and drag it to approximately the size that I want. Now when I do this, I have those same 3 options. I can either select to just fill this object, I can select to just do an outline of the object, or I can do both. Since we're doing a 2-color design, I'd like to do both. I can also go up into the Layout tab and change the size. This is a little small at just around 2.5 inches by 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the lock, and I'm going to click on 3 inches, hit enter, and then 3 and hit enter. And you do have to use the enter key. So now you have something that's perfectly symmetrical. And now I'm ready to fill this image with spangles. I'm going to choose the Hotfix tab. And there's a variety of ways that you could fill this design. The easiest way to do it is to start with the single Hotfix fill. I'm going to choose Area with Hotfix. It's a uniform fill. And you can see automatically the design that it makes. It just filled in that star according to the mathematics inside that particular fill pattern to give us this image. If I went up here and selected another fill, like the inner ring fill, you can see I get a completely different effect. I'm going to go back to uniform fill because that's the one most commonly used. And I'm going to choose the size and the color for visualization purposes only. It does not matter that it says rhinestone or rhine stud. The 6SS actually equates to 2 millimeter, as you see in the description. The 10SS equates to 3 millimeter, and the 16SS equates to 4 millimeter. My next step is to choose border, and you see outline fill. I'm going to choose path with single hotfix. And it's actually already created an outline here, but it's still purple. It's the same color. So let's change the color. And now that's green. I'm going to turn off the vector so you can just see the star. Now you can also do any size you would like. So I'm going to just select the image once again. And I'm going to go back up into border, and I'm going to choose a different size stone. And we'll make that an SS10 in gold. And I'm going to turn off the vector, and now you can see we get an even different effect. So that's how easy it is to create a 2-size, 2-color design using the Spangle Elite. Of course, you could keep going, select a different part of the image, add a 3rd color or a 3rd size, as much as you would like. From this point, if I was happy with this design, which I think I'm just going to bring down the border spacing a little bit to add more stones. And you can actually see the stones multiply on screen. And I'm also going to change the size just a little bit. And these are the kinds of things that you can do on the fly, and Hotfix Era is actually recalculating the number of stones and the placement of stones. If there was something you didn't like this area right up here, I can easily just go here, choose manual hotfix, go find the stone I want to replace, and add it in, or not. Okay, so now if I was happy with this design, I would be ready to output it, and all I'm going to do is go to File, Save, and it's going to give me the Export Send Hotfix File option. And this is what we saw on the last video of the Fox and the Foxy design, is I can set this work area to any size I would like. But first I need to choose the DST AAS sequin output. And now I'm just going to make this, actually for safety's sake, I'm going to make this 14 by 11 to give us plenty of borders. And if I wanted to create more than one of these designs, I can come down here to repetitions and see what it's like. You see 3 do not fit, but 2 would, and 4 would fit. I'm not going to make 4 designs today. I'm just going to output 1 so you can see what that's like. And now we'll go and see what it's like to output a 2-color design to the Spangle Elite. So now I'm just going to hit the export button, and I'm going to save it as a DST file right on the desktop. So we can open it up in our Spangle Elite software, and we are going to call it 2-color star. The first step to outputting your hotfix era design to the Spangle Elite is, of course, to open up the Spangle Elite software, which will be on your desktop. And then just visually check the screen and make sure that there are no warnings saying communication error. That typically means that your Spangle Elite is not turned on or connected to the computer. Since we saved the hotfix era file as a DST, we're going to need to go through Design Compile, which just takes a moment. Select the Design Compile from the menu, and then find that DST file that you just made. 2-color star for us. And now you can see we're ready to save a new file. It keeps the same name as the DST, just renames it with the ASP extension. So keep in mind, when you save your DST file, make sure the name is clear and appropriate. Now we're going to open up through Design Read the file we just saved, and you can see it there in the background. The Design Setup panel will automatically come up, and you can see the star is ready to go in the background. There's just a few things that you want to make sure of before you get started. Since we have more than a single color or single size design, you want to make sure that you have the first punch or press size that is loaded into your Spangle Elite is what is selected under the Color Unit Change drop-down menu. Then you want to go to the on-off set and just make sure that the color stop is selected and the T-sensor, which lets you know when you're running out of tape, is selected. And that also your beep on is selected. Now let's go back to the machine and load up our transfer tape. Your Spangle Elite tape, once again, will come in these sheets, which are approximately 15 by 12. I want to lay it down sticky side up, and I'm going to lift up these rollers. These orange rollers are very important. I'm going to lift this up, and looking along the sides, I want to make sure that the Spangle tape is as straight as possible by comparing it to this edge, and that when I put this down, that these orange rollers grab the rollers beneath, and that's what propels the Spangle tape forwards and backwards. Once I'm confident that that's straight, I'm going to put it in, and I'm actually going to stop the Spangle tape right at around this break where the platen hooks into the Spangle machine. And now we're ready to test. What I'm going to do next is hit the middle button and then the trace button. And this you want to make sure you watch to make sure that the motion that it goes through stays on the tape itself. Once that's set, I'm just going to hit start, and we can watch the Spangle machine work. And it has stopped for a color change. As you can see right here on the screen, it says color or unit change. So now I'm going to change it to our 3mm border. And once I've changed the color and the punch, I will be hitting start again. On a previous video, you saw how easy it is just to change out the Spangle Elite cartridge if you want to change the colors of the tape. For this application, we want to change both the color and the size. Sean is now going to cut the waste reel and simply tape it up with a little Scotch tape to the side of the Spangle Elite. And this is just so it doesn't drop back down onto your transfer. And now we're going to remove the existing Spangle Elite cartridge. Set that aside and install the new color. There's a small groove inside the Elite cartridge, just at the bottom, that the tape must be threaded through. So the cartridge has been replaced and the punch has been replaced. And now what Sean's doing is attaching the two ends, what's on the waste reel, with the new tape and turning the wheel until it's taut. This is the fastest and easiest way to change both the tape, the cartridge for the Spangle Elite, and the size at the same time. Now back to our software, it says color change stop, color or unit change. You want to make sure it's set for the new size, which is 3mm, and then just hit start. So the next step is to take the Spangle tape off of the machine. Put that original transfer tape backing onto the back of the design. Make sure it's secure, and then push the down arrow on the Spangle Elite and remove. Now you can set this aside for storage, or you can press this directly onto a shirt. Now we've got our two-color Spangle Elite design that we just output and put back onto the transfer tape with the backing. Now remember, we could have filled this entire range with 4 or more stars, just like we saw on the software output, but we elected just to do 1. And it's important that you trim this off. The closer you are to the spangles, the easier it's going to be for you to peel. So I am just going to cut this close to the Spangle design and then show you how to apply it to a shirt. Now we've got our two-color Spangle Elite design that we just output and put back onto the transfer tape with the backing. Now remember, we could have filled this entire range with 4 or more stars, just like we saw on the software output, but we elected just to do 1. And it's important that you trim this off. The closer you are to the spangles, the easier it's going to be for you to peel. So I am just going to cut this close to the Spangle design and then show you how to apply it to a shirt. I've trimmed around my design, and now today I'm using the Hotronics Fusion heat press, which has some unique properties, including kind of a built-in pillow on the bottom of the heat press. If you're using a different one, then purchase a Nomex pad, and what this allows you to do is use full pressure in complete safety for both the shirt, the heat press, and the transfer. On this particular heat press, I can do what's called threading the shirt, which means I'm going to open it up, and I'm actually going to put it on the heat press like I'm wearing the shirt. It's very simple, and it helps in design placement. So now I'm going to take the star, and I'm actually today just going to make it kind of a left chest. So I'm going to peel this away. Place it on the shirt. And now I'm going to slide it in. Now this would be the same exact procedure whether or not you're using a slide-in, a clamshell, or a swing-away press. Now the proper heat press procedure is the temperature is at 288. You need to use very high pressure, and it's a 15-second press time. So I'm just going to push this down, and there's actually a timer set. Difficult to see on the camera. And it's going to beep, and now it's ready to go. I'm going to slide this back out, and let's take a look at that design. And what you want to do is a warm peel. Because of the heat press that we're using, I can just use this spot right here. And I'm just going to rub this down and let that cool off a bit. Once again, we're going for a warm peel. All right, seems like it's ready. By the temperature, I'm just going to peel it up. And there is your star design. 2 colors, 2 sizes from the Spangle Elite. It looks great.